Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalran, and as requested, someone asked me to do a Shadow Priest guide for 6.2. So today I'm going to cover everything from rotation, talents, and things to look out for to get yourself started as a Shadow Priest. I enjoy playing my Shadow Priest from time to time, but I am not a high-rated Shadow Priest whatsoever. I'll play him casually, so I want to say that ahead of the video. So if you're looking for someone who is high-rated, this is not a video for you, but it'll cover the basics of Shadow Priest and how to help yourself get started. So let's get on to the video. So the stats to Shadow Priest goes as this. You start with Mastery, then you have Haste, then you have Versatility. Versatility and Haste are real close to one another. Then you have Crit and Multi-Strike. Mastery is a great stat because it gives some of your abilities such as Mind Blast, Mind Spike, and Mind Flay extra damage, but you do need to show some love to your dots. That is why you stack Mastery only up to 50% in order to deal more damage with those abilities. Afterwards you go for Haste or Versatility, either one works. There's not a lot you could choose for your gear, but in terms of enchanting, you want to get first of all Mastery with your gear at 50%, and afterwards you want to get Haste. For your weapon proc, a lot of people recommend get Mastery for extra damage, but I'm pretty sure you can go Haste and be just as fine, so it depends up to you on your playstyle. These are the basic talents you should run for your Shadow Priest in most situations. Spectre Guys has offensive and defensive ability, allowing you to go into stealth to line up CC, or simply get away from combat. Angelic Feather is just one of the best movement abilities in the game, where you can give movement speed to yourself and friendlies. Surge of Darkness creates awesome opportunities whenever you have dots on everybody for more procs and more damage. Psychic Scream is a fear, and you really should get a fear over a root. Twist of Fate allows us to deal more damage overall as a Shadow Priest. Even though we don't need any kind of coolies, this allows us to get more finisher damage, so you can finish off our targets quicker. Cascade and Halo are about the same area for level 90. You can go Halo within arenas, but Cascade is great for most battlegrounds, as simply the amount of sheer damage it does compared to the number of enemies on the field is just insane, and you will love this ability for its short cooldown and insta-cast ability. Clarity of Power is a great ability as it gives us a level 100 ability to have Mind Blast at a instacast as well as a shorter cooldown, and makes us deal more damage to enemies that don't have any dots such as VT or Shadow Ward Pain on our targets. It gives us overall versatile playstyle as well as makes us more offensive, and the only caster with the most amount of instacast abilities in the game and some of the strongest hitting instacast abilities in the game. Shadow Priests lack a lot of defensive power, so we gotta get as much of it as we can for offensive power. These are the basic glyphs you should be running. First of all, we have Glyph of Reflective Shield, which allows us more damage every time we are forced to play defensive. Then there's Glyph of Fade, which allows us to use ability of Fade to gain 10% extra damage reduction, which is much needed for a Shadow Priest when you're trying to play any defensively. The last glyph is honestly up to you. I like Mass Dispel in most BG situations because there are paladins and mages running around that will try to block or bubble some of the damage that's coming out on them, so I like using that. But that portion of the slot is really up to you depending on your playstyle of a Shadow Priest. There's a couple different options, so you should definitely look through the whole glyph slot. Mind Harvest you would think is a better option, but you should definitely be very cautious when running Mind Harvest, as it does put a hamper onto your Mind Blast, even if you are given a level 100 talents in order to make it that much better. So anyway, this is the glyphs, and there are really just only two that you should definitely slot into as required. The last one is up to you. The rotation for Shadow Priest is very easy. You want to first of all Mind Blast on cooldown. Mind Blast as soon as you can. Then you want to put Shadow Ward Pain if you have to run from your targets and if you have to be on the move. If you can stand and cast, you should apply Vampiric Touch. While doing that, still keep Mind Blasting as much as you can. If you get not common points but Shadow Orbs, so use to Rogue. If you get Shadow Orbs, you can use Devouring Plague to deal extra damage onto your target, or use Horror Effect in order to CC your target. If your target is low, use Shadow Ward Death, and if there's nothing you can do if you can't Mind Blast, can't put dots on anybody, I guess you can Mind Flay. You're not going to be a Mind Flay often in PvP, but it does have the effect of slowing down onto your opponents, so you can use it to your advantage. So you should really use it for the slow rather than the damage effect of it. Otherwise, spam Mind Blast, Vampiric Touch on people if you can cast, Shadow Ward Pain if you cannot, Devouring Plague if you have orbs up, and Shadow Ward Death to finish off your targets. In order to burst as a Shadow Priest, make sure both of your dots, Pain and VT, are on your target. Have 5 orbs up, and then you will Psychic Horror your target. Because of the 4-piece PvP bonus, you're going to gain those Shadow Orbs used for the Horror over 3 seconds, and then you Mind Blast and use DP as soon as you can. Afterwards you use Mind Flay, and that is really how you burst as a Shadow Priest. Overall, the damage for Shadow Priest is pretty high for all of our abilities, from Pain to VT, from Mind Blast spams, so honestly, dealing damage to enemies isn't going to be all that heavy. That's why there's not really a burst for a Shadow Priest. There's not really an ability you can use in order to get out a lot of bursts. It's really just a sequence of abilities and getting as many of those out there on a single target. Overall, as a Shadow Priest, what you're doing is spreading dots and reducing down damage as much as you can, watching out for targets that are going to be below. That's where you use Shadow Ward Death to finish them off. That is something you should be watching as a Shadow Priest, And that's really how you burst and how you deal damage as a Shadow Priest. Now in terms of playing defensive, which is something I feel like I should cover when it comes to Shadow Priest, there's not a lot of healing capabilities of a Shadow Priest. It is the only spec of priest that is very lagging on healing. You have some of the ways you can heal. First of all, you can cast Flash Heal to heal yourself. It'll cost some mana, but it can be spammed, but it can also be interrupted. This is best used if you are kicked and locked out in Shadow form. This way you can just stop and cast a healing spell onto yourself in order to help yourself keep alive. The best heal that you got is Power Word Shield, which is only available for you every 10 or 11 seconds because of the negative effect that it gives to you, Weakened Soul effect. So you can spam this ability onto yourself whenever you can and should have it up at all times every time you're about to take damage or taking damage. Because of Glyph of Feint, you can use Feint in order to take 10% less damage off of yourself, and that's really the only other ways you can heal yourself or use defensives for yourselves besides Dispersion. Dispersion will work kind of like an ice block for mages. It'll put you in a form where you cannot really be CC'd. You'll be able to have free mobility, but you cannot deal damage, but you will take 90% damage reduction. Another way to heal yourself is to use Devouring Plague. Every time Devouring Plague deals damage or has damage ticking dots onto your target, it will heal you for the damage that it deals. So this is something you can use with the 2-piece bonus. After you go into Dispersion, you'll gain a ton of versatility. That's where you should put up all your healing abilities onto yourself and use DP in order to get as much healing onto yourself as possible. When looking at the perks for Warlords of Draenor, there's not a lot. One of the big changes that happened to Shadow Priest of Warlords of Draenor and really into 6.2 is we have 5 Shadow Orbs to store. That is something you should watch out for and store them as best you can. Your Mindflay deals the damage 32% more effectively. Your Power Word Shield heals you for a little bit more in order to help you stay alive. And every time you use your finisher for Shadow Word Death, you can use it twice, and each time you hit it, and each time you can use Shadow Word Death, even though you cannot finish off a target, it'll still generate Shadow Orbs, so be aware if you are trying to kill off a target, and you know you're not going to score the kill. Spamming Shadow Word Death will generate Shadow Orbs. Because we have 5 of them, you can really apply this in any way you can, or any way you want to, whether it be offensive or defensive. Here's some of the macros that I have as a Shadow Priest. I don't play Shadow Priest competitively, and I did a little bit of arenas as a Shadow Priest. While it was fun, I didn't really get into it as I did into my Rogue, but these are some of the macros that I run, especially the heal macro in order to pop Gift of the Naru, since I am a Draenei, Gift of the Naru, Hellstone, and be able to spam Flash of Light together in order to get you healing as fast as possible. As a Shadow Priest, you're never going to have to, or shouldn't have to ever use Flash of Heal every day, during your combat rotation. So that's kind of an emergency heal kind of button altogether for me. But everything else, this is some of the macros that I did use as a Shadow Priest. Some of them are PvP related, but the one button macro are not really. So this is the only macros I even developed as a Shadow Priest. So if you did want to take a look at what I'm running with, this is really it. That's really about all I have for you guys. But thank you guys for watching this video. This has been a Shadow Priest guide for 6.2 for PvP from Dalaran the Rogue. Dalaran the Rogue making a Shadow Priest guide. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully this will help you get started playing your Shadow Priest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you're having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.